Hello guys! So this is a special edition of Art Talk Tuesday, mainly because as you can see this background is not my normal background. I'm actually in a turkey blind. So let me explain. So this week's edition is we're filming it at noon, obviously, and so because our guest Brooke is all the way over in Vienna, and so the time difference is quite a bit, and so I was like, no problem, like I'm gonna be home anyway, right? And so my fiance, so I'm currently in a turkey blind, Bonnie. I see you've hopped on here. So I was just explaining why. So my fiance, I was like, hey, I have this important interview at noon that I have to do, and he's like, babe, we're gonna be middle of nowhere, Kansas. Like, I was like, okay, how can we improvise? So we are currently in the middle of a turkey blind and not my normal hi Bonnie. And so yeah, we're just gonna roll with it. So it's just kind of funny. So we have our guest today is Brooke, and I am so excited. I'm pretty sure her last name is Cormier. I don't know. I'm gonna let her say it because I don't like to butcher last names. But we're just waiting for Brooke to get on here. She is a Canadian artist, and I've fangirl of her for a while now. I've been following, I think I found her on YouTube a little over a year ago, maybe like a year and a half ago, and I just followed her Instagram journey for a while, and I started this Art Talk Tuesday, and one of our mutual internet friends was like, you should have Brooke on there. I was like, no. He was like, yeah, like I could put like a good word in. I was like, yes, please. And so she's currently in Vienna right now doing an artist in residency. And so, yeah, we're just waiting for her to get out here. I am so excited to talk to her. What? How did you get in touch with her? She's one of my, I know, right, Andrew? She's one of my favorites too. So yeah, so we have like a mutual internet friend. I don't know, this one guy, he messages me sometimes and just talks about art, and he mentioned that he lived like in her same province, I think is what it is. And so I was like, put in a good word, yes. And so he did, and so he's like, okay, she knows who you are. I'm gonna send over and so I sent over an email and I was like, hey Brooke, and she was so nice, and she's like, yes, I'd love to. And I fangirled out for a second. So we get to talk to her. So be thinking of any questions that you want to ask her. I'm gonna ask her the usual on here, and yeah, and then up to you guys. So I'm so excited. Okay, so also while we're waiting for her to hop on here, Brooke, if you're watching this, small world, I would have, yeah, me too, Andrea. So Brooke, if you're watching this, just be sure to have your phone and horizontal, and then just click the add button. There's like a little like add person here, and yeah. So also other news, so I googled how to start a podcast the other day, or actually last night, and so I'm going to put our art talks on a podcast, so that way if you guys would rather just listen in your headphones or just whenever, so we're going to have our own podcast. That would be kind of cool. Vanessa, hi from Spain, Vanessa. That's awesome. Hi from the middle of nowhere, Kansas right now. It's actually kind of hot, and this is turkey blind, but this like black backdrop is the best I could really do. So I'm just glad we have service, honestly, because I have about 2 or 3 bars. So okay. So we're just waiting for her to hop on here. Let's see, Brooke, if you're messaging me at all, I can't see anything. I can't get email or anything, so just go in the chat so I can see stuff that's going on in the chat. Let's see. Gee, podcast. I know, right? So, I listen to podcasts daily. Like, that is like the thing that I listen to when I am painting. And so, if you guys ever listen to Jenna Kutcher's podcast, this is almost based on what hers is. So like she does the Goal Digger podcast, and it's all about just really inspiring women and just how they made their business and just all that. Although we will have men on here, I promise. But our first 5 guests have been women. So, but yeah, let's see, someone, I think it was, I don't remember. So she commented yesterday, sorry, my thought process goes from here, and here. She commented yesterday and nominated some people to be on the Art Talk Tuesday on this, and so I made note, and I'm going to try to contact them. Looking for the add button right now. You're fine. I'm just kind of talking away. We're all so excited. We're all so excited to have you. I guess the other Andrea in this group, she knows who you are too. So I'm so excited. So yeah, we're going to get a podcast, and so I was thinking just calling it the Artist Academy podcast, and then which will be just the audio version of Art Talk Tuesday. So I'm super excited about that. So yeah, okay, cool. So actually, I forgot to print out the questions, so I have my little computer right here to like, as I would normally do in these art talks. So yeah. Let's see, looking for the add button right now. It should be maybe at the bottom, or like, I don't know. I don't know. Let's see. Does somebody else want to try to add or invite themselves on here and see where the add button is? I know where it is on mine. It's the green button behind the comment section. Thank you, Ryan. Let's see. Where can we find the podcast? So it's not up yet. Good question though. Thank you for asking. So I'm going to put it on Apple Podcast, which is just on your Apple phone. And then there's another one, Twitch or something. No, that's not it. Where is it? I don't know. So there's two main ones. When Googling this podcast process, they said you should definitely have it on Apple Podcast, which you can just find on your iPhone. That's where I listen to it. And then there's another one too. I'll put in the comments exactly what it's called. Oh, there we go. Yes. I'm going to invite her on now. I'm hoping this works. Like I said, I have like 2 or 3 bars out here, so I'm really hoping this just goes really smoothly. It says adding. Be sure to like have your phone unlock off. That way you can be in horizontal mode. Connecting. We're good.
Hi.
Hi. So nice to meet you virtually.
Yes, it's nice to meet you too. Sorry for that technical difficulty.
No, that's totally fine. And you're cutting out just a little bit right now, so I'm hoping it'll go smoothly anyway. So that might be on my end, but okay, now
let
you're
me
smooth.
see. It's good? Okay.
Yeah, I think we're good. Yes.
Okay, great.
Well, thank you so much for coming on here. I was so excited. Like I said, I was telling them earlier, I think I found you on YouTube like a year and a half ago from with Tim Packer, and then I just followed you on Instagram ever since. So it's like that weird, like, I feel like I know you Instagram kind of a relationship.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. And I'm mutual friends kind of like introduced me to you as well. So I'm glad this all worked out.
Oh gosh. So the connection is super bad.
Okay, here, let me try. I'm going to try.
Oh, and it could be on my end. I'm not sure. Ugh. Right now it's kind of frozen. Shoot. What can you guys see? Let me know in the comments like what you guys are seeing on here. Oh. Uh-oh. It kicked her off or something? I don't know. Oh no. Oh no. This is one of my more exciting interviews and I was like, oh no. Okay, so right now she let me know in the comments what you guys are seeing, because right now it kicked her off on accident in some way. Brooke, let me know what happened. Ugh. Learning curves, growing pains. Just me. Okay, here, she's gonna invite back on. Let's see, let's try this again. Here we go. Second time's the charm. Let's see. It says adding. Dang it. We might have to go. Oh, it's
okay. Hi.
I can hear you.
You can hear me? Can you see me?
No, not yet. Oh, now I can see you, but it's kind of the same of
it's
the bad
same
quality. Shoot. I think so. Okay, so I can I'm sorry. Okay, so
no,
okay, let's just try, because
okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, I tried to turn off the Wi-Fi to see if the connection would get better.
Okay.
Here.
You know what?
I think
probably it might be me.
Is
since
this
we're
better?
in like a you.
Okay.
Okay, we can try it, and if anything, if it doesn't, yay again. Okay, they can see us both. Okay, great. Okay, yeah, if you
Okay.
just want to start with just introducing yourself to people who might not know who you are, I think most of us do, but yeah.
Okay, totally. Okay, so hopefully this works and the connection is good. But so I'm Brooke Cormier and I'm 25 years old. Well, I'm turning 25 in a couple weeks, and I am a full-time artist. And so I started working as a painter full-time in September 2016. But before that, I went to school for landscape architecture at the University of Guelph, and that was a 4-year long program. And a lot of people ask me, like, why didn't I go into visual arts in university? And it's just because of all these stresses of being a starving artist and,
Yeah.
everybody kind of like encouraging me to take like the safer route and that kind of thing. So I found landscape architecture when I was in the 12th grade, and it was a really good combination of like design and creativity and that kind of thing. So I thought that that would be like a healthy medium for me. So I did
Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it was a really great program, and I still got to draw all of my perspective drawings and things like that. So that was good.
Yeah.
But yeah, then at the end of my well, it was actually in my 3rd year that I kind of started rethinking what I wanted to do. And I had been doing commissioned work kind of throughout university here and there. Some people would ask me to paint, like their family members or their dogs and stuff. And so I was kind of doing like that as a little side hustle while I was in university.
Yeah.
And then it was in my 3rd year of university, so that was 2015, that I did a a painting for my grandfather and it was like a scene from up at my cottage, all the rapids, like the white water coming down and stuff. And there was a lot of people on the lake that was really interested in it. So I decided to make prints, and that's when I met my mentor, Tim Packer, because
Yeah.
he's a professional artist. For those of you who don't know him, so he does like beautiful landscape paintings and stuff, and he's a very successful artist. And so my dad actually golfs with him, and he was saying, "Oh,
Whoops.
sorry, I." I
Oh no.
literally taped my phone to this thing, so the tape is just coming up.
This is
But
just,
yeah,
yeah. That's
technical
totally fine. Yeah.
difficulties for sure.
Yeah, yeah. It kind of makes it more
Okay.
real, though.
Yeah, exactly. But anyways, yeah, so basically I took, or my dad was asking him, "Oh, where do you get your prints done?" And he said that he does his own and that he would be willing to do mine for like a way better price than anyone else was offering me. So that's when I met him. And then we just started talking about, my aspirations and stuff. And I kind of confided in him that maybe I didn't want to be a landscape architect, but actually a painter. And
Yeah.
he kind of, yeah, and he was really awesome and like told me, like he kind of stood as this influence about like how he's disproving the whole starving artist stereotype and how like it can be a viable career option and that kind of thing. And he was the one that kind of like talked to my parents and said, like, I know it's scary for your daughter to like disregard her education and like go into a completely opposite direction, but like, and so they were supportive of me. And then yeah, I started painting full time in the fall after I graduated, and I never looked back. So
That's
that's a
amazing.
good thing.
That's awesome that you had like a mentor in that way to kind of like almost convince your parents too, because I remember
Yeah.
my dad always like pushed me into it, but in the back of his head he was like maybe
Yeah, that's
this isn't a good
always
idea.
exactly. But
Yeah,
yeah, it was so I'm really happy that I met him because he's a huge influence on my career and kind of like showing me that I can do this and everything. So,
that's
yeah.
amazing. That's awesome. Yeah,
Mm.
I can like picture him in my mind because I've watched him on YouTube so many times.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, totally.
Yeah, okay, so we can get into some questions now. And guys, if you're
Sure.
watching, be thinking of some questions you want to ask her, and then we'll get to that at the end. So so the first question I asked her is, what is the tipping point that took you from hobby to professional artist? You kind of answered that a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I would say that it was probably those prints, and
Yeah,
then meeting Tim, and then him kind of like convincing me that yeah, it could happen.
that's awesome. I feel like this question is so different for everyone. So it's so interesting to see or to hear yours and everybody else's answers. Let's see, what
hmm
makes up your typical work day? How many hours do you spend painting? So you're currently in Vienna, yeah?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so right now it's 7:15 and
Yeah,
I finished painting around 5-ish. So
yeah,
typically my work days vary from day to day, like what I'm actually doing, but in general, I am painting and I usually try to paint for at least 4 hours a day.
yeah,
And sometimes it's less if other things come up, and sometimes it's like way more. It just kind of depends on what flow I'm going with that day.
yeah,
But there's painting, and then, yeah, so managing my social media as well. So that's just like creating content and posting and editing photos and like responding to comments and things like that. And that takes up a lot of my time. It
yeah.
doesn't, yeah, I mean, I'm sure you would be able to
Well,
attest to
yeah,
that
but
as well.
you have like, okay, guys, she has almost 150,000. That just like blows my mind. I spend a lot of time on it right now, and I'm not even to 50 yet. So it's like I couldn't
Yeah.
imagine that times three or whatever. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's so cool
Well,
though.
I think that also I feel like I got lucky as well because I don't think
We
any
all
of
do in
that would
our
have
own way, though.
yeah, in our own
Yeah,
ways, exactly. But yeah, it was like so the summer after I started painting full time, I had just finished making this the biggest painting that I had done yet. It was 30 by 48 inches. So it was pretty big. And I took a picture next to it, and somebody posted this picture on Reddit and said like Bob Ross would be proud or like something like that. And then it just like blew up. Like it ended up being on the front page of Reddit, and I had like all these people that I hadn't talked to in ages being like, "Oh my God, you're on the front page of Reddit," and I was like, "I don't even know what Reddit is. Like, what's
I
the
know.
big
Yeah.
deal?" But yeah, and that ended up like taking my social media. I think I had like 1,700 followers, and then over the course of the week, I got up to like 18,000 or something. It was like really drastic. And then, yeah,
Wow.
and then it just kept like climbing and climbing. So I was really lucky with that. Like, thanks to whoever posted that on Reddit, because I think I owe you a lot. But
That's so
yeah, so
cool though. You went viral.
yeah,
Isn't that what it's called
yeah,
nowadays? You go
exactly.
viral.
Yeah, exactly.
That that's so
But
cool.
yeah. Yeah, so then, so yeah, a lot goes into like managing my social media on a day-to-day basis, and also like updating my website, answering emails. Um, yeah, at home I was doing a lot of my own prints. Well, at a time I was doing my own prints, and then it's actually Tim Packer, his son, has taken over the entire like printing side of his business, and so he was doing the prints for me. So then it was like a lot of okay, driving to go pick up my prints and then driving those to the framers and getting them to like frame or stretch things, and so like a lot of driving around,
Yeah.
and also like going and buying my artistic materials here and then. But yeah, and then also just like planning ahead. Like I always spend every morning with my day planner, and I just kind of like write down everything that I need to accomplish over the
That's
day. And like,
smart. That's really
yeah,
smart.
except sometimes it can be discouraging when you only tick off like one part of it. But
Progress.
yes, progress
Yes.
nonetheless.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mentioned in the email, I was like, do you have any social media tips for people? Maybe like, I guess you're pretty consistent, it sounds like, or like,
Yeah, I think that consistency is like a huge part of it because yeah, like you want to stay relevant in your social media. So I try to post like once a day or like at least once every 2 days, and just like keep up with it. And then, like all the algorithms and stuff are always changing, but it's good to try and keep up with that. Like, respond to comments within the first hour is the most important, and things like that. And yeah, just posting Instagram stories, which I think that I could probably improve on a little. I usually
All of
forget
us
to do
could, I
that.
think.
Yeah. But that, and yeah, using hashtags. Like at first I didn't really see the relevance of hashtags, but as your audience grows, then I think that it's more useful to use hashtags, because like the more engagement that your post gets, then the higher on the hashtag page your post will get, and then it'll be seen by more people and things like that. And so when I first started my social media, and I only had like, I don't know, 300 followers or something. And I was looking at a lot of like these art featuring accounts where they would, you would just like ask them, and maybe they would do it for free, but usually they would ask you for money. And
Yep.
so yeah, I've done that before, and I don't see any shame in it, because I think like it's just paying for advertising. So I tried that for like, I think 3 different ones. It was like, oh, pay like $15 a post or something, and they're gonna, and if they have like 400,000 followers or more, or even less, then like still it's good exposure. So I was doing that when I first started my account. Now I guess it's not extremely necessary, because I find like the more followers that you get, like even art featuring accounts will post your stuff without even you asking, which is nice. Yeah, so that, and
So
yeah,
do you
I think
find
just
most of your customers come from Instagram, since you do have such a large audience?
yeah, I would say that the majority of them come from Instagram and Facebook as well. So on Facebook, I have like 20,000 followers, and I find that on Facebook, it's also like a little bit of a older demographic. Like not a lot of people, or I find that, like grandparents and stuff are like more on Facebook than they are on Instagram. And that's kind of, like I can see the demographics on my Instagram page is like mostly ages, 18 to 24 and 25 to 30, whatever, like that age range, which
Yeah.
is good, but it's also not exactly like the time in people's lives where they're willing to spend a lot of money on like original paintings and things like that.
So true. Yeah.
Yeah, and I find that on Facebook is kind of like more people who are at that stage in their life, but a lot of my customers come from Instagram. But I also have I have my website, and then my online store, and I guess I just direct people from my social media pages to my website. So yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love to hear insight from that. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
No problem.
Awesome. Okay, so we can move on to, let's see. Oh, if you could talk us through your painting process. Are there methods or techniques that you picked up through the years? I noticed that you did an underlayer was red on one of your recent paintings, maybe something like that.
Right. Yeah. So, and that's actually a technique that Tim taught me. And he does that for like all of his paintings, this really like deep, bright red for his like first layer. He tones his paintings that color before he starts. And so, yeah, I never really did underpaintings when I first started. And yeah, I've just grown accustomed to doing them over the years, because I find that it's really helpful to kind of lay out the composition first with your underpainting before you actually start the real painting. So then it kind of leaves less room for error when you go in with like the actual paint. But typically for my painting process, I will choose photos, and usually I work from photos, like my own photography. So I take my camera everywhere whenever I'm traveling and stuff, and like sometimes when I'm just walking to the park or whatever, and I'm always taking pictures. And then when I find something that kind of like strikes a inspirational chord in me, then I'll keep it in like a certain folder, and then like I'll end up painting it when the time comes. And so, yeah, so then I work from my own photography. And if I'm not doing that, then I'll be doing like still life paintings where I'll set up the composition like in front of me and then get the lighting and everything. And then, yeah, paint from that, which I also really like is still life paintings. So yeah, so then usually when I start, I'll buy my canvas and then I'll prime it with gesso, and I'll do either like 1 to 2 layers of that, and that's just to help the paint actually bind to the canvas without kind of like soaking into the weave of it. And so I'll do that, and then I will tone the entire canvas like a certain color. So in the last painting, or the one that I'm working on right now, which is this, I don't know, this castle painting.
Very, very Austrian.
Yes, very Austrian indeed. But so I toned the canvas red because the most dominant color in the painting is green, because there's like a
Oh,
lot of green landscape around. And so you want to try and do like complementary colors. So I did red because its complementary color is green. And yeah, so then I kind of let a little bit of that like shine throughout the painting so that it's kind of remaining, or it's giving like this kind of overall harmonious consistency throughout. And yeah, and so I either paint in oils or acrylics. This one is acrylics, and usually I'll do that for like realism. I like to use acrylics for realism just because it dries quicker and I'm more comfortable with it. And yeah, it's easier to like layer as opposed
yeah.
to oils where you have to wait a long time. Um, so yeah, and then I just basically work in layers. Like I'll start off with usually working from like darker colors to lighter colors, and like more broad shapes to more fine shapes. And that's, yeah. And then after I'm finished my painting, then I'll wire the back of it and I'll varnish it and hopefully sell it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Vanessa had a
Mhm.
question. She said, "What's your favorite medium and brand to paint with?" So, is acrylic your favorite medium? Yeah.
Oh, that's a hard question because I love them both for like I love oil and I love acrylic, but for different reasons. So it's
Mhm.
hard for me to say that I have a favorite. I would say that I am more comfortable with acrylics because I've been painting with them for a longer time. And my favorite brand of acrylics is Golden, and I like the heavy-bodied Golden acrylics because I find that they dry a little bit more slower, and I like the consistency of it. It's a bit
Yeah.
thicker, so it's more like oil paint kind of, and I like that about it.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite acrylic brand. But for oils, I work with water-soluble oils and the Winsor and Newton variety. So
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, so and actually that's what Tim uses too. He introduced them to me, and they're just really great because you don't need like turpentine and stuff to like wash your brushes, and you can just wash it with like water and soap, and but it still has like the same pigments and consistency as regular oil paint. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, I might have to try that. The underlayer tip. That's pretty good. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
We have a question right here. Also Ryan, my fiance, he commented. So, his mom and dad, my future in-laws, are actually going to be in Vienna on this weekend, and so
Oh
I
my
was like,
gosh, this
"What? Yeah,
weekend.
because I was telling them that I was going to
Wow.
interview you, and you're in Vienna, and I was like, yeah, they just mentioned it. I was like, that's so cool. So yeah.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
so Bonnie says, how do you work with customers? Like, do you get half up front or payment, or any other routine to know?
Right. So, yeah, for commissions, I will give the customer the option of paying usually like 50% upfront, and then usually how it works is I will finish the painting and then I'll send them a picture of it if they're not like in my immediate local area,
Yeah.
which usually they aren't. So then I'll send them a photo, like a high quality photo via email, and say like, this is the final product, but if there's anything that you want me to change, then like let me know now and I'll change it, and then I'll varnish it and send it to you. And I've never had anyone say that they want anything changed, so that's good.
That's
And
nice. Yeah.
yeah, that's nice. And then like usually they'll just say, yeah, okay, that's great. And then that's when they'll pay the other 50% of the cost, and then I'll ship it to them. And that's usually how it works. And then as for the ones that aren't commissioned, they just pay everything up front, and I give it to them.
Yeah,
So yeah.
that's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
And,
Bonnie
and
says
I think
thank you.
oh, no problem, Bonnie. And I think I've kind of had to learn that the hard way because at first I wasn't charging 50% of the cost at the beginning, and I was just waiting for like, I would do the entire painting and then get paid in full at the end. But I wouldn't recommend doing that because sometimes, well, I had an experience where like I finished the painting um, and I ended up like waiting for, I don't know, like 3 weeks for them to like actually pay me for it. And that's kind of like a nervous time. Like I knew that they weren't just gonna not pay me, but it was kind of like, okay,
Yeah.
like you want to be paid on time. So having that 50% upfront is definitely, I would recommend it if you're doing commissioned work.
Great advice. It's such a
Mhm.
live and learn thing too. I know I've had a couple jobs I've waited a while to pay, and I was like, live and learn. This is never happening again.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Let's see. What is the one thing you don't like to paint without?
Well, I would say that I don't like to paint without my Masterson Stawet palette. I can show you a picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, or I mean, not a picture, but I can actually show you. So this is the palette that I use this is what it looks like. And
Okay.
then, yeah, and basically it's just like a Tupperware, and it has like that's my palette on the inside, but it has a sponge, and it has like this special paper that basically keeps your acrylics wet for like a really long time if you know how to use it right, and I need it because
Yeah.
like for instance like this castle painting that I've been working on, um I've been working on this for like 2 weeks, and it takes a long time for me to mix my palette, and I want to make sure that the paints don't dry out. And so this has been keeping the paints wet for like 2 weeks already, and yeah, so I don't have to worry about like remixing them all the time. So that's definitely, and I have like 3 of these palettes because I just love them so much.
Yeah.
Definitely recommend them.
What is it again? Because I'm going to get that. I'm gonna get that
Yeah.
like as soon as I can.
It's called the Masterson and then Sta Wet. So it's like, I think it's
Stay.
supposed to be a play on like stay wet, but it's
Yeah.
Staweet. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
WET. Yeah.
WET. Okay, great. I'm
Yeah.
definitely looking for that on Amazon right after this.
Yes. Yeah. It's really great. So that and always a ponytail because I like to keep my hair up when I'm painting.
Yeah.
And I usually always have a pot of tea on the go because I like to drink tea while I paint too.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I'm not really a coffee drinker. I'm like, but tea like all day.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing those tips. I'm actually really excited to go get one of those because I get paint dries out so fast. Like acrylics are my favorite
Yeah.
thing too. Let's
Yeah,
see.
it's tough.
Uh, are there any lessons you've learned the hard way with painting? So maybe I don't even know.
Yeah, so I would say probably like the commission thing,
Yeah.
like the collecting the deposit ahead of time. That's I had to learn the hard way. Also, there was an instance like back when it was actually with the exact same picture painting that went viral. I had I had brought it to an outdoor art festival, and I had just finished painting it, and apparently it wasn't completely dry yet, even though I thought it was. And so it actually sold. It was hanging in my tent, and then it sold at the festival, and I was so excited about it. And then, but I told them that I wanted to take it home so I could have it professionally photographed so that I had the opportunity to make prints in the future. And they were really cool about it and said, yeah, for sure. And then it had been like hanging, and it was like hot that day, and so I guess like the paint kind of became a little more tacky and it wasn't as
Mm.
dry as I thought it was. And then I bubble wrapped it at the end of the day and brought it home. And then I brought it over to Tim's to have it photographed and for prints. And we took the bubble wrap off, and like there was like little dots in the sky from the bubble wrap, like little
Oh.
circles. And I was like, no. So then, yeah. So basically, I had to bring it home, and yeah, I had to bring it home and like remix my palette the exact same and like touch everything up. And it took me like hours and hours. It ended up being fine. Like the painting looked great at the end anyways, but it was still just like this, oh, this really, this was a learning experience. Don't bubble wrap your paintings when they're not
Yeah.
completely dry.
No, no. That's good. Oh,
Yeah,
I did not expect that.
exactly.
'Cause- yeah. Okay, awesome.
Yeah. And
Mm.
also, I would say lessons, well, with social media as well. I mean, like dealing with the downside of that a lot of the time because
Yeah.
yeah, that's something that I didn't even really anticipate. Like learning the hard way, I guess, which would
Yeah.
be like the difference between like constructive criticism and destructive criticism. So just
Yeah.
like figuring out like who's helpful and who's mean and like that kind of thing.
The
But
internet is
usually
so
it's
cruel.
yeah,
Ah,
it can be. It can be like an amazing, beautiful, majestic place, but it can also be have its dark corners, which you have to kind of like be aware of, but you know,
yeah.
grow some tougher skin. So I think that yeah, that's part of it too. But other than that, I think that those are
Yeah.
pretty much the only hard lessons I've had to learn so far. I'm sure
Not
there'll
too
be more
bad.
in the future.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious. So what does your direct messages look like? Like, are you able to keep up with those, or is that just kind of a lost cause?
It's a lost cause, and I feel
Okay.
bad because, yeah, because honestly, like, if I had enough time, I would respond to every single person, but it's just like, it basically, yeah, I guess it stops at like 99 requests, and then they just like pile up after that. I don't know. And like, so
Yeah.
sometimes I try to like, I'll look through them and the ones that are, actual, genuine, curious people that want to know about whatever, then like I'll try and help them and stuff like that. But basically, it's a lost cause. And I always like tell people if they really want to, if they have an inquiry or they really have like a question they want to ask me, art related and everything, then please email me because I always check my emails. I'm always like on top of that. But when it comes to like my direct messages, it's just
You're
like
like, no. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I didn't even attempt to direct message you. I was like, oh, good. She put her email. Let's just go there.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Awesome. Okay. Let's see. Do you have a favorite past project? So is the one you went viral? Is that your favorite one?
No, actually. So if I were to say, like, if I had a favorite project, it would be like one that I really enjoyed the process of making the most. So, those I really liked that painting, and I liked the one that I had prints made of with Tim for the first time, like the Rapids painting. But like the process of making them were, like a bit meticulous and or like just tedious work, you know what I mean? Like tiny little details that
Sure.
sometimes can get annoying.
Yeah.
Or yeah, so I would say that my favorite project would be like I did a series of still life paintings after when I was at my cottage this past summer, and it came at this time where it was like a really stressful time in my life. I just finished, I had my very first like solo show at a gallery, and I had been working like day in and day out for the 2 weeks prior to like basically like painting my ass off. Oh, I hope you're allowed to say ass.
That's cool. Yeah, we're all adults.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, just like painting, 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 trying to like build up my inventory for this show, and I wanted to make sure that it was sellable art. So I was kind of creating with this idea in mind that I'm making a product for people to buy instead of really like thinking about what is creatively driving me and that kind of thing. So I was
Mhm.
exhausted, and my grandfather ended up like dying over that course of the solo show, and it was just like a very tiresome time for me and
Yeah.
my whole family. So we went up to the cottage, and I was just like, oh, I don't want to paint at all. But I brought like I brought a few small canvases and my paint with me, like just in case. I was like, if I feel like it, I'm gonna do it, but I'm not gonna put any pressure on myself. And yeah. And then I ended up making like some still life paintings, and it was the first time that I've ever really done still life before. And I just painted a teapot, and I collected some wildflowers and like put it in a little like watering can, and I painted that. And then I went out and I went on like a mushroom forage, and I foraged all these mushrooms, and then I set them up and I painted that. And then it was honestly like, oh, it refilled my creative well so much. It was like a really great painting experience. So like so far, I think that has been like my favorite project to work on, just because it came so like authentically almost, I guess.
Yeah, I'm so happy to
Yeah.
hear that too, because like art is supposed to be like that. That's what it's supposed to be. But a lot of the times, you
Yeah.
know, we do it to make money too, which is how I think of art too.
Hmm.
It's like, will someone want to buy this? And like, yeah, well, that's
Yeah,
amazing. It was
exactly.
almost art as therapy almost.
Yeah,
But yeah,
exactly. And
cool.
sometimes that's hard, like when you turn your passion into your job, it's like it puts a different spin on it. And sometimes it's hard to like come back to that like really true feeling of, your creativity and everything when you're also relying on it for money. So this was a really nice project because it was like a no pressure kind of thing, and it allowed me to just, do my thing. So
We should all do that. Like we do these little challenges in this group, so maybe that should be like a challenge, like do a painting for you, kind of a thing. That sounds amazing.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Let's see. What are your future art plans or goals, or upcoming projects you're excited for, or what's going on?
So, well, yeah, I think that I'm still really just evolving. But yeah, for my immediate plans, I'm finishing this commission, and then I'm I'm gonna do a food series again because I started or I did like an entire kind of like food painting theme 2 summers ago, and I really enjoyed it. It was super fun. And then I kind of said, okay, I'm going to stop doing that and I'm going to explore other avenues. But yeah, I recently bought a few canvases that are intended for doing some more food portraiture almost. Well, like still life paintings. And I'm going to do them like for it's like an Austrian food series. So before I did a Canadian food series, and now I'm gonna do like like some Apfelstrudel and schnitzel and stuff like that. So that's what my upcoming project is gonna be once I'm finished this commission. And yeah, as for like my future goals, I still feel like I'm figuring out like what my unique voice is in the art world, and kind of like figuring out a style and subject matter that kind of like really works for me. I think that I'm kind of bouncing around all the time, and I haven't really like narrowed in on something that I enjoy both the process and the product. So yeah, that's my goal, and hopefully it won't take too long. But I'm not putting too much pressure on it either. I'm just kind of enjoying the process of getting there.
Good. That's good to hear. And I feel like every artist too. I mean, even me too. I'm like, what do I really love? You know, still trying to figure it out. I feel like it's just almost a
Yeah.
continue. And then once you find what you love, I think anyway, after a while, you're like, okay, what else is there? You know?
Yeah,
But yeah.
exactly. But I think that that's what the nice thing about like being an artist is that it's like always evolving. It's always like you don't have to stick with one thing. Yeah, it's a never-ending journey type of thing. So,
Yes,
yeah.
I loved your food series. I like, and Andrea Gilson says she goes, yes, I loved your food series, the mini series. Also, I really did. You did some pancakes and all that stuff. Do you do from a photo, or do you actually make pancakes and put it in front of you? I'm curious.
Oh, yeah. Well, I do make the pancakes, and I do like yeah, the past I've done two separate pancake photo or pancake paintings now,
Yeah.
and usually it's just like, I'll make the pancakes and then just like be pouring maple syrup over it and like taking a million pictures at the same time. And then I'll find like the perfect photo and then I'll paint using the photo and then, yeah, eat the
Yeah.
pancakes, obviously. And yeah, so that's usually how I do those ones because, yeah, it would be hard to paint a still life when the butter is like melting and that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, I
Right.
like
It's getting
to,
stale.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So yeah, and that's how I intend to do the upcoming food project as well, is just to like buy all of these foods and photograph them. And I may make this one a little messier, like maybe not so perfect, because I think that like my last food series was really, it was like, your idyllic like stack of pancakes or
Yep.
like the most perfect butter tart and like things like that. But I think that this time I'm gonna kind of go a little more messy, like what it would actually look like if you were to eat like a cheesy hot dog or something.
That's awesome. I'm very
So,
much looking forward to seeing that. Another question on this
mhm.
subject. So they're pretty small, right? They're like maybe 3 by 3, or are they bigger than that? Or
Well, it depends because I've
okay.
done a lot of different sizes for my food series. So I did a Canadian food series or last year, maybe 2 years ago now. Um, And that was actually 24 inches by 24. So like 2 feet by 2 feet.
Oh,
So
okay.
those, yeah, and those were big. So, and I sold all of the originals of those and I'm making prints of them. And so the prints are offered either that size, like 24 by 24 or 12 by 12. But I also did like an entire like miniature food series where they were all like 3 by 3s.
That's what I'm
So
thinking of then. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So I did both. Like, and I've also done like a few other like dessert series where I did like popsicles and ice cream and things like that. And those were 16 by 16. So I kind of work in all different sizes, but I
Yeah.
really love the 3 by 3 ones because I just thought they were so cute
They
with the
are. They're
miniature
adorable.
easels. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I
Yeah.
forgot about that. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's so cool. Okay, cool.
Mm.
Let's see. So final question. Is there any advice you would give to artists who want to make art their full-time career but just don't know where to start? Like, where's like a good starting point, do you think?
Yeah, so a good starting point. Well, for me, um, my kind of career in art, I think, started when I got my first commission. So I think that that is a really good indicator of, being able to sell your work because
Yeah.
people are, there's a demand for it. And obviously, if you want to be a full-time artist, then there has to be some sort of demand for the type of work that you're doing. So I would say that, well, first of all, you really need to have motivation and passion
True.
because, yeah, that without that, it's going to be a tough journey. And also discipline because yeah, when you're a full-time artist, you're your own boss, and that sounds really nice, but it can also be like stressful. There's nobody telling you when you need to wake up and what hours you need to work, and so you have to be disciplined to make sure you get everything done. And yeah, recognizing that you're also a business person and not just an artist. There's like this whole other side to the business. Like when I decided that I wanted to be an artist full time, I was like, oh, I'm just going to be in my studio painting all day and,
Yeah.
rainbows and butterflies, everything's going to be great. But then, like, yeah, little do you know that there's so much else involved. And so it's kind of, you have to recognize that. And yeah, just like surrounding yourself with people who are supportive of you because you don't want any of those toxic people like telling you that you can't do it and stuff. Like you want to make sure that you're in a network of people that are, supportive. Um, but as for really starting out, I would say that the best way to do that is to, first of all, practice, 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 make the best work that you can, and then try doing like art festivals and art shows and stuff like that. Like enter your work into these sorts of things, and then like, you know, and kind of like involve yourself in some kind of like artistic network. Like for this, for example, like this is
Yeah.
great for like other people to kind of like bounce ideas off of each other, and like, you know, pricing your work is something that I think like everybody struggles with, because it's kind of like,
Yeah.
I made this. It's so hard for me to like put a price on it. I don't know. And I think it's a good idea to, yeah, like go to these art festivals and stuff and take a look at what other people are doing, and like what their price range is and things like that. Yeah, have some kind of like online portfolio, because social media and yeah, websites and all those things are like so important nowadays, because that's how people kind of find you and like look at your work and stuff. So I would say that's a great first step, is to start a Facebook page or an Instagram page or a web page, just like keeping all of your work so that people have somewhere where they can access, you know, and see your portfolio and what you do, and things like that. So I think that, yeah, I think that that's
That's
what I would have
great.
to say.
That's a lot of stuff, but it's all relevant. It's like it's all very, very
Hmm.
true. It's almost nice. It's just nice to hear almost a reminder of like that. Yeah, it is very a discipline kind of a thing, and we're all
Yeah.
like we all have to do that the discipline. It's not all sunshine and rainbows like I wish it was, you know.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Andrea Gill says, do you plan your social media posts ahead of time?
Sometimes I do. If, for example, if I'm going to be away for the weekend or something, and I know that I'm not going to have a lot of time to do my posts, then I'll edit the photos and save them as drafts, and then I'll have yeah, the captions ready, and then I can just post it when I want to. I should probably do that more often, because I always find myself like, you know, sitting there in the middle of a work day, just like trying to come up with some kind of like witty comment, or yeah,
Yeah.
caption. So, but yeah, so sometimes I do that, and but I would say most of the time it's kind of like I'll take a photo and do everything at once. So like take the photo, edit the photo, post the photo, like
Yeah.
all at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. That's awesome. Okay, good to know. Yeah, I'm always curious about that too. So thanks for asking, Andrea. She says thank you.
Mhm. You're welcome.
Awesome. Well, if you guys have any more questions for her, thank you so much for taking time out of your night to
Yeah.
talk with us. I know I'm positive that you've inspired someone, which is really or someone in this group, or someone that's going to watch later. This is what this group is about, really, just inspiring aspiring artists and or beginner artists to really make it, because it's so possible to to be a full-time artist. I
Yeah.
think you're a perfect example of that, so thank you so much. I'm so excited that I got to meet you.
Oh,
So
thank you. It was a
yeah.
pleasure. I'm very
Yeah,
happy to be able to do this. It's been fun. So thank
good,
you. And keep on doing this. This is a really cool thing, and I'm sure everybody is benefiting from it. So,
thanks. Yeah, for sure this is the start of something that'll probably hopefully last for a while, so yeah. All
yeah.
right. Yeah, everybody says thank you, and or Andrew says thank you, Brooke. You're such an inspiration. I totally agree. So
Oh,
yeah.
thank you. Thank you so much. I'm really, yeah, this is great. Thank you very much for having me.
No problem. All right. Well, I will talk to you later. I'll see you on social media later or something.
Okay,
Have
see
a
you
good
on
night.
social media. Yeah, you
Bye.
too. Bye.